Here's what I say. We've been looking at travel headphones all wrong. It's not about which brand you should buy or which headphone you should buy. It's who you are as a traveler and what's important to you. Hey, welcome back. Thank you for stopping by. If you're new, go ahead and subscribe. And if you like what I put out on this video, go ahead and press that like button. But what I want to talk about is what is important when considering what your next travel headphones should be. A lot of us just look at all these reviews and they look at the best features. But the one key thing we should look at is what's important to us, who we are as travelers, and what we tend to do when we travel from A to B each time. So what I'm going to do is bring out some of the options, which are considered the top of the line headphones right now for the market. And then I'm going to throw you a twist. I'm going to show you something you may want to consider depending on what type of traveler you are. So when considering travel headphones, the two brands that always take up all of YouTube are Sony and Bose. Particularly, the model from each of these brands are reviewed heavily is the Sony 1000X M3s and the Bose noise canceling 700s. Both terrible names, and I hope not to mess them up each time I reference them. But in any case, these are the two that everyone's always looking into. Now, I don't think it's a case of which one we should have. What I believe is we should consider what we want out of the headphones because of what type of traveler we are. When you're looking at noise canceling or when you're looking at travel headphones, you're trying to accomplish some basic things. I want to be able to listen to my music. I want to be able to block out the insanity that's normally associated with travel. And I also want to be able to hold a call from time to time while traveling. And traveling for you could be going from New York to LA, using American Airlines to go from Kentucky to Nashville, or traveling on a Greyhound bus. Whatever way you travel, those are the basic things that we're So taking those three things into mind, you have to prioritize what's important to you. Being able to listen to music, canceling out the ruckus, and three, taking a couple calls. You have to figure amongst yourself as a traveler what best suits you. We have always put the Bose and the Sony head to head. And we all know that saying. No one or no thing can be the master of all. And that's what I think we're missing here. Let's talk about the M3s from Sony. Now, I've owned the M3s for about 2 years, since they first came out. Music is well balanced, and they've always been a partner of mine during my travels. Now, we all know because of current conditions, that's not happening. But how I've been using the Sonys now and have been leaning very, very heavily on them for are the multiple conference calls I either have to make or take. And guys, there's one thing that's consistent. Though they sound great with music, the mics they just don't cut the mustard. They don't. I don't know how many calls I've been on, how many Zoom conference calls I've been on, where they just don't hear me that well. Or it's too muffled or too echoey or too interruptive to a discussion. I'm not gonna lie. I knew this. I knew this before I bought the Sonys. Why? Because the type of traveler I am, I enjoy my music over the ability having to make a clear call. The purpose of me traveling with these headphones is to relax me, make me feel comfortable, isolate me from the chaotic world of going from gate 1 to gate 19 and the child crying on the airplane. So noise canceling and the music and how it sounds was always my priority. always. So I knew that the mic setup on the Sonys were not as favorable as most others would wish, but I prioritize comfort and music over the ability to take calls clearly. Now, the 700s from Bose. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really impressed. The noise canceling on the Bose 700s marginally better than the Sony M3s, marginally, but it's noticeable. But why I know they're not for me and why I own them now, like I've mentioned before, I knew the Sony M3s, their mic setup was just not good. But during travels, music was priority, right? Well, these, excellent on conference calls. No one has a problem hearing what I'm trying to convey. No one's interrupted by echoing. So I've owned the Bose 700s for about a month now because I got tired of people complaining about not being able to hear me very well through the Sonys. So I picked up a pair. And I've been on calls, listening to music, blocking out things, blocking out the outside, using a lot of the features that are compared when talking about the Sony M3s. And I've got to tell you, everyone always asks, have I purchased a different mic on my conference calls? Because I come in clear, I come in smooth, I can hear the individuals talking on their conference calls very clearly. It's a win. It's a win. So I own both pairs, right? But I got to remind you, I said what's important to me when I'm a traveler is music. And I'm sorry, Bose is just not going to be my travel companion. Because though the call quality is great, the mic quality is great on both ends. When I'm traveling, I'm just not taking that many calls. Yeah, sure, there's that one call I'm going to make during a layover, or that one call that just seems to catch me as soon as I land at this place or that place. But when you're traveling, people most likely don't expect to get a hold of you because you're traveling. And unless it's an emergency, there's no real reason to make a call while you're traveling. So that being said, Bose has its signature sound, which is pretty much flat. To say it simply, music sounds boring. Incredibly boring. I even fall asleep easier when I'm on a plane because not only does it block out sound, but because the music that I'm listening to, and these are some of my favorite hits, they just do nothing for me. And I fall asleep. So I'm sad. So I've done nothing out of the norm. I've introduced you to the same two headphones, the most popular headphones out there to be considered for noise canceling travel headphones. What I want to do is something different and introduce you to a third option. Now, if you're an audiophile, someone that is really passionate about how their music sounds, and you always want to travel around with it, but you've always had a problem with that because you want to be able to take calls, well, let me introduce you to amp DACs, preferably portable amp DACs that now have Bluetooth 5.0 in them. It allows you to have the best of both worlds. Here's a perfect example. I own a pair of Hifiman HE-4XX. I love these headphones because they're comfortable, they make my music sound really, really rich, and it's just an enjoyable trip every track that I listen to through these headphones. The problem is I can't take a call. They have that capability doesn't exist in this. They're not designed to be able to make music sound great and also make calls. So the third option, portable amp DACs with Bluetooth 5.0. Perfect addition to any audiophile who travels a lot away from their home and wants to experience good music and make calls still. The two portable amp DACs that I'm looking to recommend are either one, the BTR5 from Fiio, or the Shanling UPS-4. They allow me to make these headphones into headphones that have 5.0 Bluetooth capability, which allows me to keep my smartphone in my pocket or in the back of my bag or my briefcase. And it also gives me the feature of taking and making calls. Each of them have their own proprietary microphone that not one single person yet has complained about on the other end. Everyone hears me clearly, and I get the added bonus of enhanced music. It's a win-win. Now, some of you may have already realized that no noise canceling. Fine. I'll find a way to figure that out for you guys out there. But believe you me, when you're listening to great music with great headphones like these, good music is all you need to cancel out the ruckus of travel. So I gave you 3 options. And if you count the options by the devices I showed you, I've given you 4 options. But 3 things to consider. Just knowing what you want out of travel headphones. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. Tell me what you think about my option 3. If that's something that was new to you, wasn't new to you, or give me a recommendation. Looking forward to next time.